The No Money But Dreams podcast is for those millennial dreamers
who try to be in the top 1%.
It doesn't matter what we've achieved.
We wake up every morning with the mindset that we're still broke,
We welcome you on our journey in search of that home run.
which can change everything.
Everything?
Everything. Welcome to another episode of the No Money But Dreams podcast. Today with a very special guest, Ryan. So happy to have you on the show.
Same here. Thanks, Tarik. Thanks for having me.
We have been talking about this for a very long time. And finally, we were able to be in the same city and hopefully have a really interesting discussion for a lot of people on a number of different topics. And so give us a little bit of an introduction to who you are and how you got to this point in your career.
Sure. So I'm Ryan Ahmed. You can call me Ryan as well, which is my original Egyptian name. So I grew up in Egypt.
Yep.
And I did basically studied engineering back in Egypt. And then afterwards, I was just so passionate about mechatronics engineering and AI at that time as well, even though it wasn't like really big thing at that time. And then I decided to basically kind of master this field. And then I became a teacher assistant in Egypt. I became a kind of professor at that time. And then afterwards, I decided to pursue my education in Canada. So I went to
Why Canada?
Well, so that's a good question. So I actually was applying for many scholarships in Canada, in Australia, but then Canada had one of the best schools in mechatronics engineering, which is kind of my specialization. So I decided to, I got a full scholarship to study at McMaster University. So
Amazing.
yeah.
So you got a break.
Exactly.
You were able to leave the $100, $150 kind of salary.
Correct.
and make a new life for yourself.
That's correct.
Okay.
So that was in 2009.
Wow.
So I did my master's and I specialized at that time in artificial intelligence.
Okay.
Which is at that time really I had no idea what AI was at that time.
Yeah.
I remember I asked my supervisor, who's my mentor right now as well, and I asked him I want to look 10 years, in the future. I want to see what's going to be the hot topics in the future. So he told me two things: artificial intelligence and electric vehicles. These are the two main areas to focus on.
Yeah.
I had no idea
what a great mentor.
I know. Yeah. To be honest, I had no idea what AI was. I thought what the hell he's talking about. So I went back and I decided to focus my studies, my master's on AI. And that was a great thing to do at that time, I would say. And then after graduation, and then I found that that was in 2011 timeframe. I found that there wasn't a lot of jobs actually in the area of artificial intelligence. No one really knew what that was. And there was a recession at that time as well in US and Canada. So I decided to shift gears and to focus on the other topic, which was electric vehicles. So I did my PhD in electric vehicles and battery management systems. And then afterwards, I graduated, and then I decided to work in the industry between Canada and the US. So
Okay.
I worked at General Motors, and I worked at Samsung as well, mostly in the area of electric vehicles and autonomous vehicles.
Okay.
And of course, around 2016, 2017 timeframe, that's when a lot of advancements in AI took place. So I decided to kind of shift back to the AI and just focus on AI, and because I did all my studies in that field. And then recently I just became a professor at McMaster University. So I decided to shift from industry to academia, and now I'm recruiting kind of for the best talent in the world in the area of AI and machine learning. I just travel all over the world, try to find the best talent to get them full scholarship to study in Canada, and to
So you're basically giving people a lottery ticket to a new life.
Exactly, Tarik.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So actually right now I have recently recruited 3 of the top masters and PhD students from Egypt. And they are kind of exceptional, they really they are just doing amazing job. And I just go there, found the best schools all over the world, try to find the best talent, give them a full scholarship to study their masters and PhD. And of course, Canada, it's amazing because it gives you opportunity as well to study. After your education, you can actually work there as well. So it gives you a work permit afterwards. So it's not like the US sometimes where you get your degree and then you have 9 months only to find a job or you have to leave basically.
Yeah.
And then you get your Canadian citizenship, and then the world is yours. So you can, it's kind of open
Yeah.
a world of possibilities for you.
Yeah, very interesting how you've done academia to, get a PhD, went into industry and back to academia, and now you're kind of helping the next generation, and you're teaching around AI, right?
Correct. AI, battery management systems, or kind of for electric vehicles. And I also teach control systems as well. So anything related to mechatronics engineering, this is kind of the area, my area of expertise.
Yeah.
I also teach online as well.
Okay.
So around 5 years ago, I decided to start basically kind of teaching on Udemy and Coursera. So I've taught around 48 courses to date, only mainly in the area of artificial intelligence, machine learning, autonomous driving. And we started very, very slow in the beginning, and then, recently just, kind of took off, and we have around 350,000 students so far from over 160 countries. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So, you're being very humble about this, but you have a stellar career in academics. You had some really interesting industry experience in corporate life, and you're this entrepreneur who has built some revenue streams outside of his day-to-day job and done this very, very successfully. Not many people sell 350,000 to 350,000 people, right? So what kind of opportunities has that kind of brought up for you in terms of teaching, and how do you see the teaching in the classroom versus the teaching online?
It's a great question, Tarik. So, teaching online is completely different compared to teaching in class. And I actually learned that the hard way. So I published my first course back in 2018. And I still remember I was so passionate about the topic, and I just filmed the course myself, and I published the course, and I got my first student. I got my first 100 students. Then I got really terrible reviews. I got really bad reviews, like 2 stars out of 5. And it was just so painful, because I was so passionate, I was so happy, I was so excited, and then when you put your work out there and people say, I don't understand what he's saying, sometimes you get oh no, this is too advanced for me. So I learned that people come from very different backgrounds and very different, you need to have more of an inclusive mindset, right? When you teach in class, I know there are certain prerequisites that students have to go through. But when you teach online, basically the world is yours. You're teaching to everybody in the world. So you have to be very careful. And that's what I learned kind of the next course, which is I need to first cover the basics. Not everyone knows integration and differentiation and all this stuff. So I have to be start from absolute basics and build the knowledge, together. And speak slowly, change the speed, allow the ability as well to change the speed of the videos. And then the review starts to get better and better over time, and and then I got my first bestseller course, and now I kind of learned the trick between teaching online and teaching as well in person. Another key point too, which is people watching online, they don't have any, I would say, incentive to actually complete or finish the course, right? So you need to keep them engaged. You need to have a lot of practice opportunities. You need to answer their Q&A as well. Whenever they answer, you need to reply to their Q&A questions within 24 hours time frame. So I just kind of make sure to do that.
Yeah, so. You have done this 48 times now.
Yeah.
Exactly. One of the most interesting things that you told me is that, get them to, the Python course that you have, for example, get them to actually practice as early as possible. Within 2 minutes, you're straight up with your Jupyter books and letting them practice.
That's exactly right. So I try to stay away from theory and just make it pretty much all my courses practical. We call it let's say 5 days of machine learning practical. So everything just we're gonna learn, a skill every day. And we're gonna learn from the first moment. We just, the moment that they actually watch the first video, they learn to do something, and that's what keeps people really engaged.
Yeah.
And we also, I try to design the course to include a practical project at the end, so they actually have something to show to their future employers or to their current employer as well.
Yeah, that's really, really important. Like engaging the audience as early as possible. And I'm sure that's part of the reason why your courses now work so well, because you've gone through all these painful lessons and have experimented many times, and now people enjoy this format much more. And I mean, education online is changing all the time, right? I mean,
Correct.
if you now look at Udemy and Coursera and the kind of content that they're putting out, it's changing with every course that is coming out there. I feel like attention span is getting shorter, and you have to make sure that you get the information across as quickly as possible, and for people to have these practice opportunities.
I basically have to kind of adjust and learn every day, especially in the AI world. Like the stuff that I used to teach 2 years ago is not kind of relevant anymore.
Yeah.
So I have to keep learning, especially with ChatGPT and all the, you know, the new AI and generative AI tools coming out. I have to learn them very, very quickly. I have to teach them very, very quickly. And I have to design the courses to make them very efficient. Like we're talking about 2 to 3 hours. I used to make courses that are 40 plus hours before. No one wanted these courses.
Yes.
So everyone is just looking right now into like 2 to 3 hours of content, and it's structured on a day by day basis. Like we call them, let's say, 1 week of data science. You're going to learn data science in 1 week. You have 1 day, every day, just spend 1 hour. You can book that 1 hour in your calendar. And I found these courses actually have a much higher completion rate, and we can keep the retention for the students as well. So.
Yeah, that's so interesting, because I feel like, you know, if I think about my own kids, will they ever go to university, or will in 10, 15 years time it be completely, the education system be completely different, right? Where you don't have to go to university anymore. I remember I started getting interested in specific topics around 13, 14, 15. And instead of having to wait till you finish university and all of that, you just go online, do 10 different, you're interested in marketing, go and do 10 digital marketing courses or whatever. Why would you have to go to university? Okay. The one thing that we all know is great is building a network and being with people and all of that. But to actually learn hard knowledge, you can just do online. You don't have to go anywhere. So I think Udemy and Coursera and all these places will just benefit so much of this, because there will be more people creating content, and it will be much easier to get very specialized content online.
Exactly. Yep.
We don't even have to talk about AI and what ChatGPT will do to the future. But yeah, I mean, it looks like you're at the forefront of 2, 3 very important topics. So you're based in Canada. You're in between Dubai and Canada. You come and visit all the time.
Right.
Tell me about the pull that Dubai has on you, and the headaches that it has created for you.
Well, so I've been in Canada for 12 years so far. And like I'm from the desert, right? Like I'm from Egypt. So I love the sun, obviously. And I just love the beach, and just want to be closer to the Mediterranean all the time, and closer to Egypt as well, you know, as part of it too, and especially that my family is in Egypt as well.
Yeah.
So so whenever I come from Canada to Dubai, for example, I'm just amazed that, first of all, it's sunny all the time, right? It's like literally, like pretty much, I don't even have to check the weather app anymore, right? It's just sunny. Of course, there is a lot of opportunities in here when it comes to a lot of content creators are moving here to get benefits of the tax-free, for example, and benefits. And also kind of being in the center of the world as well, having, you know, the ability to go anywhere, you know, go to Europe, go anywhere much cheaper, I would say, because it's very close, kind of the center of the world. And I have as well, like my family as well is between Dubai and Egypt, so it's much, much closer to me.
Yeah.
Of course, I love Canada, and I'm very grateful for Canada, and it's really beautiful country. But no matter how long I stay there, it's just the cold. I can't get used to it. I learned how to ski. I learned how to, like, you know, do pretty much every winter activity. No matter how long I stay, just the cold is just too much, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, Canada is extreme, right? It's not like -3 or 4. It's
minus 20 degrees C and so on. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy. But I mean, Canada certainly has changed your life and given you an opportunity to grow
100%.
professionally and all that kind of stuff. And it feels like now Dubai potentially presents another opportunity to change your life again in one way or another. What's interesting to me is like I speak to all sorts of people that are thinking about moving to Dubai or that have just moved to Dubai. To someone that is actually very successful in their own domain. And we talk about, talent in this region and potentially being still behind other places like the US, like Canada, in terms of talent acquisition, right? You work in academics and you develop some of the best talent that there is in the world in AI, right? Have you thought about coming here and maybe teaching at one of the universities here and bringing your academic background, forget the content creation background, but the academia and not just academics, but even corporate? I mean, you've worked Samsung, GM, there's big names in there. Have you thought about like a career shift from that perspective and coming here to develop that part of your career?
Well, it's always on my mind, I would say. Like, the idea of moving from, the West to the Middle East, especially that I see a lot of potential in this area. I see a lot of great talent here as well. I would say like when it comes especially to the area of artificial intelligence and machine learning and electric vehicles, of course, the US and the Canadian side is just a lot more advanced right now, but it's slowly moving when you see all the investments from the UAE government, from the Saudi government as well into electric vehicles and autonomous vehicles. I have a lot of hope, I would say, for this region, and it's on my mind, I would say, but it's very hard to make that decision. It's really
I can imagine. I mean, you have built a career over there,
correct,
so it's
correct.
It's not an easy decision,
right? Especially that I like at the university, like we have really strong team. I already have a lot of masters and PhD students as well that I supervise right now, and like finding all these opportunities, especially in the West, it was actually very hard. It took me like a few years to get into a full-time faculty position in Canada. The interview process took around 2 years, just to give you an idea.
Wow. Yeah, you don't want to just throw this away.
It's very, very difficult, I would say. And
now that we're on the topic of AI, that's definitely something that I've started playing around with probably 12 months ago when the first kind of hype came out. What would you advise to someone that is kind of starting out and wants to get into AI, has a normal job, is not in the field of AI, is not a student, but has a day-to-day job? There's all these co-piloting solutions. How can you learn? Kind of like, I have no idea, I want to learn. What is a good starting point? Apart from obviously buying every course that you've ever done.
Well, it's a great question, Tarik. So my advice to anyone right now, like, even if you're not in the tech field, or if you're like, let's say in the finance field or any other field, like AI is kind of it's a new revolution, right? Like it can literally 10x your productivity in so many different ways. So I strongly recommend that everyone in their own specific field to take, not just my courses, I would say, any other course that is specialized in their specific area, specific field. For example, learning how to use ChatGPT, use GPT-4 to do not just, like asking just basic questions. Now GPT-4 can do financial statement analysis, for example. So that's actually one of the courses that we teach is GPT-4 for financial analysis and investments. So literally you can use it to kind of unlock a new level of creativity for you as well. You can use it for brainstorming ideas, can use it to automate a lot of tasks. And I look at it as, like AI will not gonna replace people. What I see is someone who uses AI will gonna replace, like people. That's the way I look at it. Like you need to equip yourself with all these incredible tools that are coming out right now, and they are changing very, very fast, very, very quickly, and that's why like it's hard at university level to kind of keep track with all these technological advancements, because literally we publish a new course every 2 months just to keep track, and in 2 months time the interface and ChatGPT already changed, right? Like now they have the GPT store, which is now you can create your own GPT. An expert in financial analysis, for example, maybe an expert in investments, experts in there are some other GPTs coming as well for, let's say, self-driving cars, for many other specialized tasks.
Yeah.
So, and all of that just started like 2 weeks ago. So just imagine what's going to happen, and that's why we have to keep track and we have to keep learning as we move along.
So start somewhere.
Correct.
And just keep trying to be ahead of the game.
Exactly.
Yeah, but 100%. I mean, what would you say to people that don't do this? Because many people will be watching this and saying, AI is not for me. It's a phase like crypto, metaverse, and all these things that were buzzwords for a while and then kind of go away.
I strongly disagree. It's AI is not, again, I've been in this field for like 12 years. And if someone told me about ChatGPT maybe 5 years ago, I would have said, no, like it's impossible to have like an chatbot that can answer questions, do a financial statement analysis, do all these incredible stuff, make suggestions and so on. But what happened is, back in 2015, 2016 timeframe, there are a lot of technological advancement that took place in the field of AI. With all the data that we have, with all the compute that we have, basically it's just happening in an exponential way. And AI, it's not a hype anymore. It's a reality. And I also look at what's going to happen over the next few years. We probably going to reach the singularity point, which is a point where like AI will can have the same level of intelligence as humans, pretty much in every task. And this is going to be like a critical point for humanity, pretty much, because now you can create a human being, which is really scary. Like we as humans, we have never lived with a technology that is kind of doing exactly the same tasks that we do in everything, can like do pretty much everything. And I see it with GPT-5, for example, that is coming out. GPT-5 is going to be multimodal. So we're going to basically deal with pictures, deal with voices, it's literally a human being that have seen the entire internet. It has read every book, saw every post, saw every code, for example, so can actually write code for you. I look at it as just, just try GPT-4 and you'll be amazed how especially for computer scientists, for example, I used to teach Python programming, and teaching the same course without ChatGPT and with ChatGPT is kind of irrelevant. Like I kind of go back into the courses that I published in 2020, for example, or 2021. And I just feel these are irrelevant courses because I wasn't leveraging AI.
You shouldn't be saying this. Your sales will go down.
And I'm updating the courses all the time.
Yeah.
So the way I look at it is just like if I teach coding without teaching AI as well with it, it's kind of irrelevant. It doesn't make any sense because AI can literally 10x your productivity. Now you don't need to type the code itself. Now you can type what you want that code to do, and then the code will be generated for you. So there is kind of a lot of debate right now. It's like whether computer scientists are going to be around or not. I kind of disagree with the technologies that we have right now. It's still, of course, we need, the human element in it. But I would say over the next few years, it's going to be very challenging, not just for computer scientists, for writers, for content creators, for even influencers. Now you can see all these avatar AI influencers, and people are actually making a lot of money out of it as well. People are following them, and it's kind of dangerous, I would say. So.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of industries are going to change. A lot of jobs are going to change. And 100%. If you don't know how to use this, then it will be very difficult for you to keep up. It doesn't matter what your job will be in 3, 5, 10 years, right?
Correct.
You will have to use it.
Right, 100%. 100%. And also you can see a lot of layoffs happening right now in a lot of the tech sector.
Yeah.
They don't say that it's because of generative AI, but it is, it's you can literally automate a lot of tasks with AI, like any, a lot of the data analysis jobs, for example, could be automated you can just upload an Excel sheet and just mention, okay, do exploratory data analysis on that Excel sheet. Now it can generate images for you. It can analyze the data. It's going to tell you how your sales are going up, down, where to optimize your store. And you're talking to Einstein, and it's for free, or like $20 a month, right?
Yeah.
For GPT-4. So this is kind of the dangerous, I would say, part is like you need to learn it very, very quickly, and you need to use it as one of the tools to 10x your productivity.
That's very exciting and scary at the
Scary,
same
yes.
time, because job openings will go down,
Right.
and the existing jobs kind of will be phased out.
Correct.
Yes. One thing I want to talk a little bit more about your creator kind of part of yourself, and having sold that many courses, the opportunities that has led to. I know that you're teaching corporates, but something that I found incredibly interesting is your opportunity that you had with the CFA and what people are going through there.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about this experience.
Sure. So as I mentioned, like I've been teaching a lot of courses on Udemy and Coursera. And this is kind of my advice as well for everyone. Just you need to create your own personal brand. This is really important. Like even if even if you are amazing at your job, you need to create a personal brand, or whether it's LinkedIn, publish courses, have a YouTube channel, and just create that image for you online, that presence online, because that will unlock a lot of opportunities that you never even knew existed. And that's kind of what happened to me. So I've been approached by CFA Institute to create what they call a practical skills modules. These are modules that everyone going through the CFA certification of level 1 and level 2, they need to take Python or artificial intelligence and machine learning levels. And because I already have some online presence at that time, it was a very competitive process with a lot of companies applying and so on. And then luckily I got selected, and we created basically the practical skills modules for the CFA. So everyone in the world going through the CFA certification, they have to go through one of these two basic courses and choose them as one of the practical skills modules. Yeah. Which is really amazing, because my background's actually not, in finance. I'm a tech person. Yes, I did my MBA in finance, and that helped a lot. But just the idea that you can see the CFA, which is the Stanford of finance, basically. And I see as well, like a lot of my relatives telling me like, oh, wow, I have to take, some of your courses because we're going through the CFA certification. It's kind of humbling. So
yes.
It's kind of the lesson learned here is I didn't know what CFA, I didn't know the CFA, what CFA was, but I didn't know that they're actually working on these kind of opportunities, right? And these opportunities come your way because I had a social presence and a social media presence, and also brand online. And these kind of the opportunities that you will never get if I don't have these courses to start with. So this is my advice to everybody, even to my new students and the students that I recruit. I need to find your LinkedIn, just show me your LinkedIn profile. Show me you are interested in the topic, for example. You have articles that you wrote about a certain topic. Maybe you have a GitHub repo. Stuff like that can show that you actually have done something, not just a degree or a certificate that everyone has.
Yeah, I mean job descriptions, CVs, and all the stuff that
outdated.
No one cares anymore,
correct.
Right?
That's correct.
I mean, when I start interviewing people, I don't even look at CVs anymore. Right. I just want to have a conversation. I want to know, what have you done? What are you about? Like, correct. If you don't have a brand and you can't speak for yourself, it's very, very difficult to hire someone in this day and age when you can automate so many things.
100%.
But why I asked you about the CFA thing is, did it change you financially in a ridiculous amount, or like why did you do it, or why did you want to do it? Why did you compete to be the one that everyone has to take a course from?
Well, it's I would say it's because of the next opportunity that the CFA is going to bring, afterwards. Now, once you become, kind of the face of the Python and AI in the finance field, no one knows, there's the opportunities that are going to come afterwards. So.
I mean, there's a massive stamp of approval, right?
Course,
what you said, it's like the Stanford of finance.
Correct.
So everyone that goes through there knows you, and they will check you out. They will go on your LinkedIn. Correct. They will go and look at all the courses. Right. Thankfully, you have a course on financial modeling and all that kind of stuff, right? That's so correct. Hopefully, that will really translate into more sales and more blessings coming your way. But sometimes it's not just about looking at monetizing every opportunity to the max, but thinking very carefully, let me build my presence, let me build one building block after another, start with courses. I mean, now you also teach corporates.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
All of these opportunities, they don't just happen out of the blue.
Exactly. One more thing as well, Tarik, is like what I found is the best way to actually like have as well social presence and for people to trust you as well is to offer a lot of things for free. So for example, on my YouTube channel, I published over 200 videos and I have around 250,000 subscribers so far. And basically, I teach pretty much every topic related to how to find a job, for example, at Fortune 100 companies, how to use AI like ChatGPT and all the GPT-4 tools. And I use a lot of the content that I have for my kind of paid courses. I use them on my YouTube channel as well. Mm-hmm. And this kind of, like just the idea that, as you mentioned, we don't have to monetize everything. Just give first, and you need to
build trust.
Exactly.
Right, it builds trust, and then when someone is thinking about buying something, right, they'll remember you.
Correct. I also publish a lot of free courses as well on Udemy, so not just paid courses. So I have like a free course on how to land a job at the Fortune 500 companies, for example, where I teach people basically every pain point that I went through to find a job in Canada at that time. I'm just teaching people how to kind of, what are the tips and tricks that I use myself to overcome that. And I found a lot of students kind of get a lot of value out of it as well. So.
I want to ask you another question. I feel you may have a strong viewpoint on this. If someone like you 15 years ago thinks about, I sit wherever in the world right now, and I want to improve my life and get a chance at really changing my current situation, what would you advise to someone like this? Because not everyone is going to get a full scholarship somewhere, right? I mean, at the end of the day, that's the 0.1% of the people, right? But still, with all the technology out there, with all the courses that we're talking about, how can someone go about creating their own luck and really changing their situation?
Well, so, so my advice is first, you need to be, which is might, like kind of turn off a lot of people, I would say, you need to be really good at school. Like, this is my advice. You need to take it seriously. Because I hear a lot of people right now saying, okay, like Bill Gates, for example, or like Steve Jobs or Mark Zuckerberg, they kind of dropped out, of school. Yes, it's a very different situation. First, they are in the US, right? Tons of opportunities everywhere. And it's not for everyone, right? It's not like the idea of when I rebel and we just want to, like not study and just, do my own thing. My advice is just, first, you need to be really good at school. For example, when I look at students that I recruit, I look at their grades as well, because that gives me kind of an idea of how serious they're taking their, whatever they're working on right now. So the grades actually matters, and being good at school is actually really important as well. Another thing, I know maybe...
No, I have to interrupt you because I didn't understand this in my A-levels, right? I was working, I was playing basketball, I had no interest in school. I hated that I had to take so many subjects that I wasn't interested in. And I actually had a C average, right? So I had very, very bad school finishing degree. And it closed so many doors when I applied for universities. I couldn't go to the top universities. At my bachelor's, I literally went with the best that I could, but it definitely wasn't the best, right? So you don't realize as someone as young how important your grades are and how many people will look at it. Thankfully, I scratched a corner and was able to catch up during my university, because then I studied business and it was interesting stuff. But you only realize later how important school and university grades and all of that kind of are, because even when I completed my master, I was competing with all the people that had a bachelor, a master, and a PhD for the same job. Right. It's not like, oh, you have more qualifications now and now it's going to be easy to get a job. No, like the bar has been raised so much that you need to have good grades, good degrees. Otherwise, they don't even look at you.
Agreed, 100%. Tarik.
Yeah.
So a lot of people actually don't like it when I say that, because they say, okay, maybe because you like school so much.
Yeah.
But just do your best. Just be out there, do your best. Try to, like, in addition to what you're doing, what you're working on during school, for example, try to leverage anything online. Like I always say, like, money is actually made online, not physically. Like, there's tons of opportunities available out there. If you learn a specific skill, if you learn, let's say, for example, right now, there is a lot of hype around AI artists, for example. These are, if you're like into art, for example, try to learn how to use artificial intelligence and all these different tools to kind of unlock a world of possibilities for you. As I mentioned before, you need to have an online presence and have a personal brand. It really like goes like a long way. I can tell you, okay, let's assume that I'm looking for a new student right now. What I look at, okay, first, I don't have time to look for all the CVs, right? So I look for someone who actually reach out to me, right? So first,
Be proactive.
Correct. Be proactive. First, they did their homework. They know, like they went to like top universities. They reached out to the professor. So that's a good sign. That's the first step. Second step, how they wrote their email, for example. Like the way that they write their emails. Are they showcasing what the work that they have done? Because I don't have time, right? I only have like a minute to kind of read the email, right? So most of the students that actually got accepted, in their email, they say, okay, like here is my profile. This is kind of the project that I worked on. And they have a link to a LinkedIn or like a Google page or something, just show me something. And this is the second thing that I look for. And then I ask them for the transcripts for undergraduates. And if they're doing their PhD, I look for their master's transcripts as well. And I look at their the grades. Like, yes, if they have maybe like C+, or like somewhere, that's fine. But if I see consistent, I'm looking for A's and A pluses, basically. If I see like C here and there, that's fine. But if I look at it and just find an entire semester, for example, that has, let's say, C's and D's, there's no, even if I accept it, the university won't accept it, right? So it's, and as I mentioned as well, I look for kind of, and not just me, just again, as you mentioned, the bar is set so high right now. A lot of companies, they are firing people, right? They just for a company to hire you, you need to be like, like really A plus, not just student, but just, in the world as well, have an impact, have a personal brand, and you can sell yourself really well as well.
For me, what is also important, I mean, let's say someone doesn't want to go to university or are past this stage and they want to develop skills, right? I mean, there's Fiverr, there's Upwork, there's all these 100%. Different opportunities where you can go and practice a skill and then you can offer the skill online. It doesn't matter where you are in the world.
Correct.
Go and offer that skill. Take little amount of money first, get some good reviews in, and then start charging more. Right,
1000%.
But you can make money from anywhere in the world now, right. and that's scary, but that's also the beauty of it.
Correct.
If you want to improve your financial situation or get out of your current situation, then there are definitely opportunities out there.
100%. For example, like I have one of my previous students. He is from India, and he did his master's at one of the universities in Canada. It's called University of Windsor. And his background is actually not coding or computer science or any of that, but he has kind of the will to learn, right? And he, like, I always praise him, because his background is automotive, and then he decided to, because he likes all this stuff, just to study and to take a lot of online courses and programs on artificial intelligence and machine learning. And now he works at one of the top 500 companies as their main data scientist, the lead data scientist for them. And basically he went from making, let's say, $1,000 a month, max, not even, maybe like $800 a month, to making like $12,000 to $15,000 a month, like 15x in 2 years, just by studying and learning online. And of course, he's passionate about what he's studying as well. This is a big thing too.
Yeah, that's really important. Like right. Having self-starters and having people that just do stuff by themselves. The same in the corporate world. If you want to advance in the corporate world, or you want to show that you are a valued, or you should be a valued team member, and you shouldn't be the one that is going to get sacked next, you better have some arguments why
Exactly.
I should keep you, right?
Right.
So the advancement and need to continuously learn is so important. Does ChatGPT and AI level the playing field between people that have gone to top Ivy League kind of universities with people that haven't? Can people compete? Like if you invest a lot of time in learning a skill and learning how the new AI world works and the tools and all from prompting and all these kind of things, will these people be able to compete or outcompete someone that goes to a rubber stamp kind of university?
100%. 100%. Like I look at it as well, especially during my, I used to hire a lot of people in my previous companies. And whenever I look for, like talent, of course, having a degree from one of the top schools make a big difference, right? It kind of gets you into the door, right? Into the interview, right?
Yeah.
If you have like a degree from Harvard or did maybe an MBA at Wharton, it makes, like it's a big deal, right? But then during the interview, the attitude and the projects that people have worked on can actually show. Like you can actually tell if that person not just, went through the degree or were just took a degree and just paid, $200,000 to get an MBA, for example, but just what kind of project they have worked on, what their attitude during the interview. And of course, during the probation period, we actually fired a lot of people during the probation period, even though they came from top schools.
Yeah.
Because it's just they don't have that hunger to learn.
Hunger and drive, right?
Exactly.
And this is exactly what the difference is. Like you can't teach this. If you've always had an easy life, you went from one good university or one good school to another, you haven't gone through the hardship of having to go from Egypt to Canada to minus 20 to all these. No, I'm serious about this, And if you sit there in a dark room, it's late at night, and you just keep hammering away at a problem for a long period of time, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, at some point you will come out and say, hey, I've got all these skills. Now I can go and apply myself, and I don't have to BS anyone in an interview, and I can actually show them, and I'll work anyone else, right? Correct. And that, to me, this shift is actually more exciting than anything else, because having this level playing field and giving people a chance, it doesn't matter where they're from, where they were born, and all that kind of stuff, is very liberating. And 100%. People should feel excited about this. And even now, like, let's make the contrast not as big, but if someone is in a corporate job and they're kind of average, they're not really progressing, they're not really getting pay rises, they're not getting promotions, well, it's all in your hand. You just have to go out there, spend time, head down, studying, and you'll come out and you'll outcompete all the people that are being lazy and just sitting on their past laurels right. and are not really doing anything.
100%.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that was very exciting for me. For AI, I know the potential, but I definitely haven't spent enough time on it. And I've actually started now, after a year of prompting and playing around and doing different projects with it. I've started taking more courses to understand the actual underlyings, what is RAG, what is, like, all these different kind of things that are being thrown out there that you don't understand if you haven't taken a course like that. And I'm excited to see, like, it's changing so fast. Like you were talking about the GPT store.
Correct.
I found one of them that creates a video out of a prompt, right? And it's crazy how it just creates the video like this. I posted it on my LinkedIn. You play around with it for like 10, 15, 20 minutes. And the output that you see there, you could have never produced if you're not a technical video editor kind of person.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
And the speed that happens there, you really have to stay on top of it, because if you don't do anything for 2 months, you're like...
become obsolete very quickly.
Yes.
And for example, with GPT Store, so I created a GPT for myself, which is basically a replica of me. So I used every single script that I've done for all my courses, used all the scripts that I've done for all my YouTube videos, and all the papers that I published. You can basically upload all that to GPT, or you create your own custom GPT. And basically now you have a replica of myself that can talk like me, can create courses, for example, like me. And it's just incredible. And just link that with videos. And now you can have an avatar basically with my face on it. And now you can automate the whole process for creating a new course, for example.
And the biggest pain point before was that you had to reshoot stuff and edit and all of that. Here you have an avatar, it's
correct,
done.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like a very exciting future.
100%.
And instead of being scared of it, you should embrace it and go out and learn as much as you can and try and fail and do all these things, get back up, and
exactly,
you know, at some point you'll figure it out.
100%.
Well, Ryan, this was a very insightful discussion, and I'm very happy that you came on, and I hope that people will take this as kind of like the nudge to get started. Check you out on all sorts of different social media platforms and courses. Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me, Tarik.
No, thank you.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thanks.